Warning: resin is a toxic material and extremely harmful for the respiratory system when airborne during sanding, grinding, or drilling. The dust, when breathed in, can cause short and long-term health problems, including cancer. Please use a particle or dual organic respirator. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Man at YouTube with another model video. Today we'll be reviewing, building and painting the Volks resin kit from Girls and Panzer Yukari. This is a pre-coloured kit. Retails for quite a bit, but quite often due to their large numbers they can be found cheap second hand in this quite a snazzy clear box. We've got these very colourful and playful instructions. Gives you step-by-step guide what to do, drawings and reference material of the character, eye decals, how to assemble it, as well as other information that may be relevant to resin modelers and very well packaged. This is practically the Rolls Royce of resin kits. You'll never find as good fits, well documented reference material, packaging and pre-colored. Technically all you have to do is buy it, trim the runners, assemble it, add the decals, top coat it, and it's absolutely finished. You don't really have to do any more, but for others you can remove the nubs or flash or anything else and take it a step further. Now, I was very impressed with the colour and the layout. It was very easy to remove the tabs and clean them. It did have some flash issues where putty needed to be applied and sanded back. The fit is okay, though a tad shallow for my taste. I still decided to use pins, as this definitely makes it a lot easier to assemble the project after painting with PVA glue and not ruin my paint job, unlike a few projects ago with the Hatsune Miku. The last project I did, the medieval girl, definitely just pin it as far and as hard as you definitely can. Detail wise, very sharp, nicely scribed if there's lines such as on the uniform or the folds on the skirt. The moulds were definitely sharp enough and well casted to the point where I didn't see any obvious imperfection like swirl marks in the colouring of the resin. That's very impressive, as most coloured resin I've dealt with has definitely had swirl marks or imperfections in density. I assume that they used a resin injection moulding machine, which you don't see that often out there, more of an industry thing. There's no air bubbles, absolutely nothing. Quite nice. For the larger pieces, they also had dot points or guides where you can drill further to add pins. So the model's definitely catered for heavy, keen scale modelers that's going to do the full amount of work, and casuals or beginners in resin. For a beginner, I definitely highly recommend picking up one or a few of these and building and painting them before you start going for your garage kits and homebrewed stuff. You'll have a much better experience with this, knowing that it will come out decently depending on what you do attempt via painting. Now, I'm also led to believe that the release agent has also been cleaned or removed by the factory. I cannot confirm this. I haven't followed enough modelers that do build this to say so. I would still wash it, as I did, in soapy water and a brush, and give it a bit of a soak to remove any potential release agents. To be a bit fun and playful with the base, I created this ammo box in AutoCAD, drafting it from scratch based off some historical shell casings I found on eBay that people did collect from the Second World War. I cutted them in a way that would print out pretty easy in an extrusion plastic 3D printer. put two of them together on a styrene plate, puttied it up, sanded up, and mounted the figure on it. Where there were imperfection like gouge marks, holes that I drilled in, or flash marks, one or two of the parts did not quite align correctly, which would be a problem with painting. This was done with automotive blade or bog putty, a pre-mixed polyester putty. Sticks very well to resin, dries quick and hard, and this was sanded back promptly. Bit of a test fit was performed, a few more pins added, and we were definitely ready for assembly and painting. With the pins, I drilled a hole into the resin, super glued the pin in, and it was all good. There was holes also drilled into the areas that are going to not be painted and will be fused together after gluing. Two large holes were drilled where I could attach the peg for painting. Quite a good idea. For other harder to reach areas such as the skirts or the weird sailor bib thing that goes around their neck, a toothpick was broken in half, attached to a skewer, and just rested on top for painting over. Now for the airbrushing state, these pieces are very easy to handle, so it's not a problem. The base was hit with a very heavy case of automotive lacquer primer out of a rattle can to fill in any imperfections. A small pewter cast tank was provided to me, which was glued down and painted as a toy for Yukari to play with. All the parts were airbrushed with Mr. Surfacer 1500 to look for any imperfections for the sanding or putty work. Don't forget, when you are sanding your resin, wet sand it. This makes sure that the dust is not airborne for you to breathe in, as per the warning at the beginning of the video. If you don't do this, wear a respirator. Definitely do it outside so the wind can just disperse all that crud. Then immediately we got into painting. We laid everything with a base coat of white, so the colours are bright and vibrant, not black or dark. Each colour, such as the green skirt, would be first applied with a slightly darkish green, and then a bright vibrant green dusted, or not dusted, but strategically painted in a way that the colour is module to light effect at the top or the front of the pleats of the skirt. This gave a very interesting look. This is easily done by completely covering and smothering the whole surface in the darker green, and then being more selective and only spraying in one direction and in key strategic areas with the lighter green, thus allowing the darker green to come through. Same done with the hair. The white uniform was a very, very light military grey with white sprayed on top of that. The ammo box was painted brown, a bit of shading, a bit of metal bits highlighted, and weathering pastels strategically outlining the wood grain effect on the boxes. Once all the airbrushing was done, the figure had the green pinstripes applied by hand, a bit of masking. The mouth and eyes was also hand painted with the water slide decals very carefully applied and top coated in gloss, as well as all the other areas. SMS matte clear finish was applied in a couple of coats in all the parts. This dulled everything down, and the eyes was again touched up by hand with white. A little bit of touch up and folds were picked up and fixed, which you will see in the latest video of honing your airbrush skills before or after this video comes out. The figure was snap fitted together with the pegs and pins with a little bit of PVA glue. Solvent glues such as super glue and whatnot does have a way of mucking up the paint if it does ooze out ever so slightly. PVA glue's dry and it keeps the model nice and rigid, and if the pins and pegs fit very snug, then just a drop of glue is really all that's required. Once fully assembled, I think I'm very, very happy with this finish. It is my third or fourth figure. It's getting closer to looking like a lot of stuff you see by other GK modelers. The flesh tone, I think I'm getting closer to absolutely nailing it. I used the Bones Beautiful Girl Mr. Hobby Paint Flesh set. applied a bit of the rose over guy note flesh, and then heavily shaded over that with the Mr. Hobby character flesh 1 until it became quite pale and sort of matched the box. Once you sort of nail down pinning it, the neatness in the paintwork opposed to anything that's machine mecha oriented, which can afford to be a bit dirty, and you just get the tone colors right by mixing colors and shading right with flesh. Realistically, these GK kits at the end are not that hard. I still don't really want to hand paint the eyes, but with the amount of decals and the option of printing your own decals, that's still quite viable for me at the moment, as long as I stick to kits that comes with eye decals or a standardized scale that the eye decals are made in pre-cut. Anyway, had a lot of fun, learnt a lot more. I think this finish is a little better than the previous ones. I've got a couple of more on the go, and we'll see how I improve and how much I push onwards. I'm going to do a couple of more E2046 kits and maybe try some homebrew GK kits that I picked up overseas. Thank you very much for watching. As always, stay tuned for further content, weekly to 2 videos a week posted on this channel. We do have extra content, work in progress, and other bits and pieces posted in a picture and writing form, as well as links onto Facebook. So that's all very worthwhile investing and having a look into. And yeah, catch you guys later. If you have any questions or comments, I do enjoy reading as well as answering anything phrased as a question for sure. Catch you guys next time.